And I knew this was coming because I sent out the Jimmy Savile affair and the hullabaloo and all the even higher people in royalty, etc., that have been protected by that nobility, the ones that have been into paedophilia for many, many years, well known by all the press, by the way. And I knew that eventually what they'd do is just go the opposite way. What we get out of it would be never what you expected. Not the arrest or so on. No, they'll call to end the term paedophilia altogether. Because you see, the big boys want this to be eliminated. Remember what I've mentioned before to do with the Frankfurt School? Destroy the cultures right down to the very base of cement that held them together and made them function. That means every single bit of it. Everything that you believed in and loved and everything else, totally, utterly destroyed. Everything that was practical and sensible and worked had to be destroyed. And then they'd rebuild the culture all over again, the global culture, that is. And that meant, too, that there's no such thing as underage sex with children. And here it comes, of course, stop persecuting ageless celebrities and lower the age of consent. A UK barrister, lawyer, Barbara Hewson said, it says here. So I'll go into this article when I come back, but it's not a surprise to me. Mind you, she wants a bit of fame because she likes to get on television, this woman. Back with more after this. Hi folks, I'm Alan Watt. We're back cutting through the matrix, talking about you can always tell what's going to happen because eventually they really do want to do away with the age of consent altogether. And some countries, they've already lowered it for homosexuality down to 14 years. And they want to go lower and abolish it altogether. Anyway, this lawyer in Britain, who sometimes appears on the BBC apparently with her viewpoints and different things. She specializes in the feminist agenda, of course, and abortion rights and so on. Anyway, she says that in an article for online publications, Spiked, Hewson, a barrister, which is a lawyer at Hardwicke Chambers, London, who specializes in reproductive rights, called for the end of anonymity for complainants. And the human rights lawyer labelled crimes committed by Halls, is another BBC guy arrested recently, for assaulting 13 girls, the youngest aged just 9 years old, as low-level misdemeanors. It makes you wonder about her own proclivities too, doesn't it? Doesn't it do that to you? In a statement, Hardwicke said, "We're shocked by the views expressed in Barbara Hewson's article on Spiked. We didn't see or approve the article pre-publication, and we completely dissociate ourselves from its content and any related views she may have expressed via social media or any other media outlets." Her comments come as Scotland Yard continues what they call Operation Yewtree. Investigation split into 3 inquiries into allegations involving deceased presenter Jimmy Savile, claims involving Savile and others, and those involving just others. It says, a number of high-profile figures have been arrested under Yewtree, such as entertainer Rolf Harris, former pop star Gary Glitter, DJ Dave Lee Travis, comedian Jim Davidson, and PR guru Max Clifford, all deny any wrongdoing. Actually, a paedophilia will always deny wrongdoing because they don't see it as doing wrong. They'll say that's their preference. Miss Hewson argued at the post-Savile witch hunting of aging celebrities echoes the Soviet Union, and says it's not difficult to see why some elderly defendants conclude that resistance is useless. Well, the Soviet Union was different because that was just politicians, the high politicians getting rid of other politicians to make room for the relatives. That's generally what they did. It was all relatives that ran the Soviet Union, you know. There was just different big families of relatives that actually came into the Soviet Union from elsewhere. She added, but the low-level misdemeanors with which Stuart Hall was charged, young girls, are nothing like serious crime. Ordinarily, Hall's misdemeanors would not be prosecuted, and certainly not decades after the event. So time's okay. I guess if you murder someone 20 years ago, it's okay now, eh? What we have here is the manipulation of the British criminal justice system to produce scapegoats on demand. Scapegoats who were kind of horny goats at the time, wouldn't you say? It says, as for law reform now regrettably necessary, my recommendations are to remove complainant anonymity, introduce a strict statute of limitations for criminal prosecutions and civil actions, and reduce the age of consent to 13. That's her recommendations. Makes you wonder where she's at, eh? And it says, Peter Watt, the director of the National Society for Protection of Cruelty to Children, Helpline said, these outdated and simply ill-informed views would be shocking to hear from anyone, but to hear them from a highly experienced barrister or lawyer simply beggars belief. And Stuart Hall has pleaded guilty to abusing children as young as 9-year-old. We think most would agree that crimes of this nature are incredibly serious. But as we all go down the tube, you see, with moral relativity, well, I guess whatever is wrong is just your own idea of what's right and wrong. That's what they tell you, isn't it? Isn't it, folks? That's why it's so easily used and abused. And an awful lot worse to come with the masters of the world. From Hamish myself, Ontario, Canada, it's good night. May your God or gods go with you.